country great. All you're doing is throwing insults. All you're doing is throwing insults. You're not talking any factual evidence here. You're talking insults. You're talking nonsense right now, man. You're propping up the party that put us in chains. You're propping up the party that put us in chains, man. You don't even know your own history, man. I mean, you're older than me. That's a shame. That's a shame. Listen, man, I fought for my country. I know my history, man. I know my history. You don't know your history. You don't know your history. You see this type of stuff, man?
All the time. Hey guys, it's Flex. This week we're in Washington, D.C. for the Blexit event. Candace Owens just gave a great speech outside the White House. President Trump addressed the group, and now we're headed over to the Black Lives Matter Plaza to see what's going on. Flex Talks. Hello. Can I ask you some questions?
Of course.
I'm Austin.
Hey, Austin. I'm Patricia.
Nice to meet you, Patricia.
Nice to meet you.
It's Kenny. So what brings you out here today?
I organized Black Chicago for Trump.
Blexit is basically the black community coming together behind Trump, and they're more about peace and love and about facts, to be honest. I voted for Obama twice, voted for Bernie, and then I finally had my eyes open and I started doing some actual research on Trump, and there's a lot of fake news. At first I thought I used to hate Trump. Now I totally love that guy.
I want black people to really sit down and look at their current conditions and think about who put them in those conditions. Donald Trump did not create the mess that we're currently living in. I would say, during the Obama administration, we lost 70% of our collective wealth that took us from 1863, the beginning of emancipation, to 2016 to build. We lost 70% of that while Barack Obama was in office. And if we want to retain that last 30%, we have to make sure that Barack Obama's vice president does not get in office to take the rest of it from us.
It was actually under Obama's presidency when he, ran under hope and change, and he made himself seem like he was this likable guy, and he really wasn't. And then he started talking crap about America. I'm an immigrant. I came here when I was 5 years old. I love living here. I love the opportunities we have here. So I love America.
Hi. Joe Biden's been in politics for 47 years. 47 years. He hasn't done nothing for black people. Nothing positive for black people. He wrote the 94 crime bill that mass incarcerated black people. You know what I'm saying? So if you're black out there and you're trying to think, he actually told you, if you don't know who you're trying to vote for, you're not black. If you're trying to think for yourself and figure it out, like, should I vote for him or should I vote for Trump? He said you're not black because you're trying to think. He said black people tend to think alike. You get what I'm saying? They call Trump a racist every time, but Joe Biden is actual racist.
Thank you.
You get what I'm saying?
When it comes to the assumption that all black people should be Democrats, why does that exist?
If I can be completely honest, for myself, I was raised that way. I was raised that, you vote Democrat because you're black. But most of us don't really look into policies, and we don't look into who's passing the policies that are helping our community. We just believe in the things that people tell us instead of actually going under the hood. We stay on the surface too much.
They continue to vote for policies and people who keep pocketing the money that we are paying in taxes to be helping our communities, and instead they're funneling it into other stuff. Then they're saying, why doesn't anything get done? Well, because you keep voting for the same people and then you don't hold them accountable.
If you're thinking out there like, look, and you're being skeptical about who to vote for this year, go do some research, all right? Go do your research. Do not go based on what you see on CNN. Do not go based on what Cardi B tells you. Do not go based on what The Rock tells you. Go do your own research and see what Trump has done in 4 years and see what Biden has done in 47 years and weigh it out.
Yep.
That's it.
What made you realize that you've been lied to, the Democrats weren't what you thought they were?
Honestly, when I became a Christian, I started reading the Bible. And I started reading the Bible and focusing more on Jesus Christ. And I noticed that the conservative values lined up with my beliefs. And so it just everything trickled down from there. And I'm like, the Democrats were lying to us about everything. So once I started figuring out one thing they lied about, I started figuring out another thing they lied about, and it just keeps going.
It's hard to go out of the rabbit hole once you go down it.
You can't.
I voted for Obama reluctantly, very begrudgingly, and then I quickly regretted that. And I said, you know what? I won't make that mistake ever again. I'm never voting Democrat again. I will vote Republican or Libertarian the rest of my life at this point because the Democrats are not doing it.
Because I'm from Chicago, the only type of leadership I know is liberal Democratic leadership, and that leadership has greatly failed my people. Our neighborhoods are filled with vacant lots, drug addicts, drug dealers, and guns. And I just feel like we deserve more. This is the United States of America. This isn't an indictment against them, but it's time for us to try something new because the policies that we've been following have failed.
What are some of the lies the mainstream media has been telling to kind of keep people divided?
Oh, the main thing is that Trump is a racist. He's a white supremacist. He hates black people. He hates women. He hates gays. He hates foreigners. He hates puppies. He hates everything. And it's all lies. It's actually interesting because the opposite. Like, literally everything they accuse Trump of, Biden is guilty himself of.
The left knows exactly how to bait black people because they use things like racism. Can I give you an example? The other day, Michelle Obama went on TV. She gave a whole speech, talked about how Trump was this and Trump was that. And at the very end of what she said, she made sure to say, and yes, it is racist. You know why? Because the minute you call anything racist or you add race into it, black people get emotional and they come out. Kamala did the same thing because they know how to bait black people in. The problem is black people are stuck looking at CNN and the rest of that stuff. And here's my thing, and I've told black people this before, who are Democrat. I don't try to convince Democrats to be Republican. What I try to convince them to do is know your history and read a little bit. Do your research. If you still want to vote Democrat, do what you do, but be an educated and an informed voter. Most Democrats can't tell you why they're Democrats. They just hate Donald Trump. They can't even tell you what Biden did in 47 years, but they're going to vote for him. They can't tell you what Kamala did while she was in California, locking black people up left and right, but they're going to vote for her. When will the slaves get off the plantation? You know what happens when slaves get off their plantation? The House just tell on them.
They were spreading this narrative like Donald Trump is racist. So I was like, you know what? When did Donald Trump become racist? You get what I'm saying? Donald Trump has always been someone that everybody loved. Everybody wanted to hang out with. Everybody, even black people, all these black celebrities love Donald Trump. You get what I'm saying? So I did some research and I'm like, yo, there's nothing wrong with this guy. You get what I'm saying? There's nothing. And I also did my research into Hillary. I was like, yeah, I'm not voting for her.
So then what are you talking? So why you calling this cool? You know what you're
What I'm saying is that Orange Cheeto in the office don't even like y'all.
So that makes us a cool.
So y'all wear
that makes us a cool. Absolute madness. You have no idea what you stand for. You have no idea what you stand for, man. You're supporting the party that wanted segregation, the ones that wanted slavery, the ones that created the KKK, the ones that bust us, the one that did a redlining, the one that rounded up all the Native Americans and marched them off in the Trail of Tears. You have no idea what you stand for. A bunch of people that are Republicans, we're coons though, right? You have no idea what you're talking about. You should be ashamed of yourself. So all these black people should be ashamed of themselves? You're the only one with that logic. You're the only one with that logic. Thank you very much. I need some water.
Not us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're on the plantation, not us. We free. They not free.
And the message of the day is that black people have their own minds. Blacks have their own minds. Minorities have their own minds. We can think for ourselves. We back the blue because all of us do not support the Black Lives Matter agenda because it's an agenda. It's not about black lives because they don't address fatherlessness in the black neighborhoods. That's the main problem that we have. Fatherlessness, everything trickles down from there. So if we address that, we can address a lot of issues, but Black Lives Matter only addresses an issue when a black man is killed. They say they started about black men, but none of their policies and the things they believe in is anything about black men. It's about taking the black man out of the family. And all of us don't agree with that.
As far as BLM, you know, they say there's not rioting, they say they're not burning down places, but we can see it with our own eyes. There's tons and tons of video. And it's sad because in the beginning, I was with BLM. I was like I'm supporting what happened to George Floyd. I'm down with your cause. But then I went on their page, and on their page, they're talking about Marxism, destroying the patriarchal family, the nuclear family. I was like, I'm not about that. You know, I'm a Christian, and those are not values we stand behind.
Black Lives Matter is a scam, okay? Big scam, okay? They've raised billions of dollars, done nothing for the black community. Nothing at all. I've not seen Black Lives Matter go to South Chicago, for example, and say, look, we're going to build you guys a community center so the kids could, have somewhere to have fun or whatever. We're going to give you guys a nice school. We're going to help the low-income black family. Billions of dollars, bro. They haven't raised anything. They haven't done anything for black communities. So they're a big scam, all right? They want to tear down the nuclear family. They don't care about black men, okay? They only come out when criminals get killed, all right? 50 people got shot in Chicago, 8 dead. No outrage, no Black Lives Matter, nothing. This past weekend, 50 people got shot. No outrage, no nothing. So these guys don't really care about Black Lives Matter. They're trying to push a narrative, and if it doesn't fit the narrative, they don't care if it's 100 people dead. If 2 people die and it fits their narrative, they don't care about the 100 people who died. They'll go with the 2 people who died. because it fits their narrative.
You look at like the search history, BLM, Black Lives Matter, that spikes in 2016, 2020. So every election, you kind of bring that group out, and they trot them out, and they just, try to deceive the entire black community, it seems like.
I've never been a Democrat, ever. I've always been a Republican since I could vote. Some of the pushback you get is you get the name calling, you get the cussing, you get the coon, but you get what you see right here. But what you see right here is the evidence of ignorance, because when you don't have an intellectual conversation, all you do is throw insults.
Black Lives Matter has been lying about our police officers in this nation, and minorities are dying because of this vicious media lie that police officers are somehow an existential threat to Latinos and Black Americans.
I will never support defunding the police. I will never support lawlessness. That is insane. I encourage these people that want to defund the police, go to another country and see how the police system is over there.
Yeah.
Go to another country and try to call 911 at 2 o'clock in the morning when you need help, and then come back to your inner city and try to defund the police. That's the dumbest narrative out there, and black people don't want to defund the police. It's the white BLM organization that wants the police gone from the inner cities,
Democrats.
so black people can continue to have high crime and lower education and continue to kill each other. That's why they want the police out. We don't want police out. We want more police. Now, what I would say is that perhaps funding should be added to the police.
I feel like police officers protect us, and they serve our community, and we should do the same. It really doesn't make sense to me that we're going after people that are putting their lives on the line. I don't think they're bad people too. It's just they have what is good in their head, and for example, like climate change. I'm not saying climate change is wrong, but I don't want to bring down the entire U.S. economy doing it. So smartly, properly, we can figure that out.
Exactly. It's like framed in a way where it's like it is a good thing to want to take care of the environment, but if you oppose the Green New Deal, it doesn't mean you hate it and you think it's not real. And then they frame it in a way where either like it's a binary thing, and the side you agree on, if you do agree with them, is actually more radical than they portray. Same with Black Lives Matter. It's like the movement itself, like the name sounds like something you always want to agree with, but then if you don't agree with it, then you're racist against black people, but the group is actually not representative of the whole black population.
It's crazy. I'm a black man. I'm proud to be a black man, and I'm supporting my president, but a lot of times they don't see it. It's a us versus them mentality.
Hey man, excuse me. Can I ask you a question? About what brings you out here today? What's going on with this event? So what's this event all about? No, you don't want to talk.
It's a fascist rally.
It's a fascist rally, and then who's involved? What is the issue here? You don't want to talk. It's all good if you don't want to.
I felt very duped when I voted for Obama. I did vote for Obama, and that was the most misinformed.
So did I.
Yeah, and I can admit that was a dumb thing to do because I was misinformed, and a misinformed vote is very dangerous. It's extremely dangerous, and I would have preferred myself not to even have voted because the only thing I knew is that Obama was black, and I wanted to see a change. But I realized that voting for that purpose is like deadly, man, because you have to be informed on the policies. So that's why I don't really particularly identify President Trump as a Republican, because I've never really identified with Republicans' policies or my interests. Donald Trump came in as a wild card, and Donald Trump came in and just rearranged everything for the betterment of Americans all the way around. So he's not a Republican or a Democrat in my book. He's just a superhero American.
Start doing your research, start talking to people who don't think the same way as you, and try to understand what their values are, and take your emotions out of it. Take your emotions out of it and look straight at the facts. Look at who is saving you money on your taxes, and look who is spending all your tax money. Because I definitely got a tax break, and I want to keep that tax break. So please stop voting Democrat so I can keep my paycheck. I've worked too hard.
His sign says, Trump is the symptom, the system is the disease. What do you think about that statement?
What is he advocating for?
He's saying systematic racism.
Systematic racism?
Or systemic.
Systemic racism, okay. Listen, man, I'm a first-generation American. My parents immigrated to this country from West Africa, from Ghana, right? They came to this country with practically nothing that they had, right? They busted their faces, worked really hard, brought 14 of my relatives from Ghana to the United States legally, who also were in poverty, by the way, but they worked hard to come and give our family an American dream. I turned 19 in boot camp. I decided to join United States Air Force, where I served at RAF Mildenhall as an aerospace ground equipment journeyman. Fought in the military, came back home, and I see people like this sheep promoting communism and Marxism and a bunch of things he doesn't even know. trying to upend capitalism, upend our way of life to replace it with a system he doesn't know. Communism and Marxism has been tried hundreds of times. It's never been successful. It's never worked. And I'm sick and tired of seeing people like this coming out here believing that the African-American communities, we're just a bunch of monoliths. We're going to believe all one thing. If you're black, you got to be a Democrat. If you're black, you got to be with Biden. If you're black, you got to be with Obama. You try and choose anything else, you're a racist, you're a bigot. Because what he doesn't know is that the Republican Party was founded by several hundred African-Americans. I bet he doesn't know that. I bet he doesn't know that the first 28 congresspeople in the United States that were African-American congresspeople were Republican. And I'm talking from the 1800s up until the late 1800s. All of them African-American. The first senators, 1800s. First 28, Republicans. The first African-American congresswoman wasn't until 1963. The first African-American senator was not until 1993. I was alive when the first African-American senator was put into power. This guy does not know that. Yet you see all these African-Americans, thousands of them. But we're a monolith. We're a monolith. We're on the wrong side of history. This guy supports the party that created the KKK. He supports the party that created redlining. He supports the party that created the Trail of Tears, where they marched all the Native Americans into the Western plantations. This is the guy who supports the Jim Crow, who supports the segregation. Yeah, we're the ones on the wrong side of history because we're not taking the handouts from the Democrat Party. The Republican Party's not here to hand out anything. We're here for opportunity. We're here to pick people up. And I'm sick and tired of the people, especially in my generation, perpetuating a history that they don't even understand, pushing for things that are going to destroy our country.
What's your message to anyone going to 2020 who's maybe not the most political, not paying that much attention?
It's time to wake up because I know it's been an excuse that I don't like politics, but this year, this election, it's going to determine our country. Like, our way of life is at stake now, so we can't just be, by the wayside and not focusing. We need to really focus in and really learn some things really quick because we have to save our country. Because if we don't want to be in breadlines, we don't want socialism, we don't want communism. We want to keep our way of life. So wake up.
Do research from the other side. Have an open mind, an open heart, and it'll lead you to the truth. You can see both. You can compare and contrast the information from both sides. One thing I noticed is when people debate, Biden supporters or BLM or anything, the information starts. Once you get to the truth, they start canceling you out. They instantly call you racist. I have people call me racist as a Latino. I'm like, what? I'm definitely not a racist. So then I just realized that they don't have an argument. It's a good way to throw smoke and then run away.
They claim to be, so diverse and supportive of women and blacks, but if it doesn't fit their narrative, then they expose their racism and they completely shut you off and don't even give you a voice. They are actually telling people like us that we're a pawn. That's literally saying that I can't think for myself. So because I'm not on your side, I can't think for myself. I'm a pawn.
In reality, like you said, it's the opposite.
In reality, it's the opposite. So my message to these celebrities that are incessant on keeping us down, people they're gonna have to be called out by names now. People like Don Lemon, like Whoopi Goldberg, like Sonny Hostin, people like LeBron James, D.L. Hughley, Dwayne Johnson, Kim Whitley, Ava DuVernay. These are extremely dangerous people, and they need to stay out of politics if they're going to tell people who to vote for. They're actually telling people to vote blue all the way down. And that's the most dangerous thing you can tell a voter. They're not telling people to research, do your own research, come up with your own data, vote for your interests. They're just telling you, listen to me and vote blue.
Vote blue no matter who.
They should shut up.